No Rest for the Wicked has released its first major content patch a year after the initial release of the early access. A ton of you have been waiting for this content drop before getting into the game for the very first time. As someone with well over 100 hours invested in the game before the new content and over 30 hours since the patch released, I'm here to provide 10 tips I think every beginner should know. So let's get right into it. My first tip is that healing in Wicked is done by consuming food items. You can craft these meals at any campfire you find around the world. My tip for you is to pick up literally every ingredient you find. The most crucial ingredient early on will be the herbs, specifically the Artemisia herb. I think I'm saying that right. Mostly because this herb is used in almost every single meal that you'll craft in the early stages of the game. Continuing on with the concept of healing, my second tip is for you to use the rune Heal Aura. This rune can be purchased from Eleanor's shop upon entering Sacrament. The reason this rune is so valuable is because it saves you a lot of time needing to go out and farm for meal ingredients. Instead, you can sacrifice some of your combat strength by using your focus on health instead of damage. So as a result, there's a bit of a trade-off, but it really does help in the early stages of the game. Now moving into my third tip, let's talk about stats. In the early stages of your Wicked experience, you're going to want to invest in a couple stats in your first few levels. Every time you level up, you will acquire 3 attributes to allocate as you wish. My recommendation is to spread these stats between health, stamina, focus, and a few points in equip load, at least early on in the game. Health and stamina are probably going to be the most important stats here in the first few levels. From this point on, you're going to want to invest in a stat spread for weapons you want to be using. This means putting points purely in strength if you intend on using strength-based weapons. Or maybe you plan on using dexterity and intellect, in which case you want to evenly increase these 2 stats. Depending on the stat spread you invest in, you will be locked out of other weapons from other stats, so just be aware of that. You can still test out their movesets freely though. There is an option to redistribute your stats later on, but it does cost a specific resource, and this resource is pretty valuable as it kind of allows you to reforge your gear to get certain perks that you're looking for and stuff like that. Next up is something that is very important: money. My fourth tip is to look into selling the majority of your armor pieces early into the game. Selling these armor pieces will help you build up your money reserves to help fund your gear repairs or buy any items that you might want from various shops. To build on this a little bit though, my fifth tip is that weapons are more important and you should probably hold on to these starting out. This is mainly because you can extract their rune attacks at Eleanor's shop, allowing you to then equip runes to your desired weapon. This allows for some nice customization options for how you want to play Wicked. The reason you want to stockpile weapons is because sometimes it can be hard to acquire duplicates, especially when a weapon has a very valuable base rune attack that you will want in the future. My sixth tip is in regards to armor and experience. If you are lucky enough to find a diamond by digging or perhaps in a shop's item list, equip it as soon as possible at Eleanor's shop. You can use the infuse option at Eleanor's to equip this gem to one of your armor pieces. This will help you level up faster and power up if you find one of these diamonds early in the game, so don't ignore these. You want to try to equip these gems into gear pieces that it has the purple text on the gem itself. This is going to provide a much more powerful version of that effect that's being applied. Moving on to my seventh tip though is related to building up Sacrament. In this game, you can increase various vendors' levels, which in return increases the inventory they sell as well as additional functions. For example, Fillmore's Forge can more quickly process raw materials, cutting down on the time it takes to make refined materials. Of these shops, I think there is one in particular that should be prioritized, and that's Greenwich's shop. Greenwich can offer a wide variety of items, but his wares change daily, so they're a little random. Depending on his shop tier, you can get offered various rare monster materials, different recipes for weapons, and other useful items, as well as him selling various gems and upgrade materials. Prioritizing Greenwich's shop will give you a higher chance at finding rare loot in his wares. My eighth tip is related to a valuable resource, Plague Ichor. This material drops from boss battles and it can be used to upgrade your character in various ways. In my opinion, the most valuable slots to use these Ichor on early are going to be ring slots or inventory slots. Rings are very powerful, and having 3 rings equipped can give your character a major power boost. That is assuming that you have 3 rings to actually equip. If you don't have 3 rings, then I suggest upgrading your inventory slots, because I think it's important to increase how much stuff you can carry early on, so that way you can kind of hoard things and then sell them at a shop later on. So really this just helps you build up wares to sell to different vendors and help build up your money quicker. Afterwards, I think leveling up either hunger or adding a second main hand slot is going to be more valuable. And speaking of weapon slots, my 9th tip is to consider carrying a utility weapon. This weapon can be considered like your HM slave from something like Pokemon. Basically, this weapon is going to just be equipping different utility abilities such as Heal Aura. Another one that you can equip is going to be Illuminate, which brightens up the area around you. Or maybe you can increase your damage by equipping the Damage Surge rune, which is available at Eleanor's shop at tier 3. My 10th and final tip is to try saving money starting out to buy a house. Buying a house will let you add storage items that you can then drop gear, crafted materials, and consumables off at. The nice thing about the house is any crafting you do simply takes materials straight from your stash inventory, meaning you don't have to worry about visiting your house later to replenish crafting materials while upgrading sacrament or your weapons. It's a little pricey starting out, but trust me, it's very worthwhile after the big purchase is made. But that's going to be it for my beginner tips. If there's anything that more veteran players might have to offer, please leave them in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more No Rest for the Wicked content in the very near future. This was GooberTroy, and as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.